Hey, how's it going everybody? Sinful Duck here, and welcome to another Grim Dawn video. Today we're going to be talking about the new CABALIST build that I've been running. It's not actually a build that I came up with. It's a build that a friend of mine showed me by somebody named Suede. So I will leave a link to that original video down in the description so you guys can check that out if you want. But this build is a dual-wield melee CABALIST build. Very, very strong, whether you're solo or in a group. It synergizes really well with lots of other classes. So I'm not going to go super in-depth with this one because the build is really complex, and honestly, I could sit and go through and talk about how everything works for like an hour. So I'm just going to show you the basics of the build, show it to you in action, and if you guys have any comments, questions on the build, leave them down in the comments below. Give this a thumbs up if you enjoy it, and if you haven't subscribed and you want to see more Grim Dawn content, hit that subscribe button. Now, let's get into it. Let's start off here by talking about our gear. So you can see that we're dual wielding. Our main hand weapon is going to be the Mythical Mind Warp. This is super strong for any kind of melee build like this. I know it's used in this, obviously. It's also used for a lot of Death Knight builds. So Mythical Mind Warp is ridiculously strong because you can see the 20% chance of reducing those resists and the Mind Warp proc itself. Just adding flat Aether damage, OA, I mean, it's just so good. Our offhand is the Mythical Clairvoyant Wand. So we are using the full Clairvoyant set. So why are we using this? There's a couple of reasons why. Number one, each piece is going to give you Aether and Chaos damage. You can see those here. You're getting percent to Aether and Chaos, but you're also getting percent to all damage on each piece. So you're getting a lot of all damage, you're getting Aether damage, you're getting Chaos damage, and we're using all those damage types. But not only are we using those damage types, but we're also converting. If you look at our ring, Albrecht's Duality, and now this is not the mythical version, so I'm hoping to get an upgrade, but the roll on this one is so good. If you look at the third stat there, 55% Chaos damage converted to Aether. So we're converting all that Chaos damage right there, and we actually have more that we're converting. So here on the shoulders, we have another 17% Chaos converted to Aether. I think we have another piece somewhere. I'm not sure exactly which one right off the top of my head, but we're converting 90%, I think a little over 90% of our Chaos damage into Aether damage, which is really good because then that's going to, all these Aether and Chaos bonuses that we're getting on the gear, they just add up like crazy. It's so strong. So that's one reason, the Aether, Chaos, and the all damage. That's one reason we're using the Clairvoyant set. The second is obviously because of the set bonuses. You see the set bonuses, Aether, Chaos for the 2-piece. The 3-piece, we're getting Elemental Resist, plus 3 Spectral Binding, plus 3 to Second Right. That is really strong there. That increases our health, that increases our damage. So strong. But the 4-piece is where this set really shines here. The 4-piece, 10% chance of 100% skill cooldown reduction and plus 1 to all skills. So the 10% chance skill cooldown reduction, it's not 10% chance on attack like most things are. It's 10% chance on use. So every time you click a skill, you have a 10% chance of resetting that skill. So if I hit Ravenous Earth, there's a 10% chance that cooldown is going to be negated. But if one of these is on cooldown and that set bonus procs, it will not reset all cooldowns. It is only the cooldown for that specific skill that you're casting at the moment. That is very strong because you're able to stack up Ravenous Earth. You're able to continuously cast Bone Harvest. You're able to throw multiple Doom Bolts in a row. And sometimes, if you need it, you even get multiple Blood of Dregs if you are getting hit really hard and you need multiple heals. So that 4-piece bonus is super, super strong. And then, on top of that, the skill that you get for completing the set, Clairvoyance. That is basically your energy regen. That's your energy sustain for this build. And good lord, does it work. So what are we using besides Clairvoyance? We're running Krieg's Gloves along with a Restless Remains and Coven Black Ash. We're running Mythical Greaves of Ill Omen, again with Coven Black Ash and Ugdenbog Leather. Mythical Direwolf Crest. The reason we have this on, it's not an amazing metal on its own, but the main reason we're using this is because it gives you the ability to dual wield. Without this, you can't do a dual wield build on this character. So we've got Mythical Direwolf Crest here with a Ward Stone. Our belt is the Mythical Spirit Seeker's Cord. Ugdenbog Leather and Coven Black Ash on this one as well. Our relic is the Eldritch Pact. This is giving us a lot of damage. It's giving us health. It's giving us regen, +1 all skills. And the granted skill Chaos Surge is so cool. So cool. 15% chance on attack that this thing goes off. And it's a big red chaos orb that shoots out of you and then goes through enemies and then comes back and goes through them all again. Our pants, the Mythical Wraithborn Leg Wraps. So we've got Aether Blast Wave there, and Scaled Hide and Coven Black Ash there. We're using the Scaled Hide on a couple of these pieces because we want that armor, and we also want the armor absorption. That is going to be really big on this build. The Mythical Clairvoyant Robe, obviously, with a Soak Swatch and Coven Black Ash. Ulbricht's Duality is going to be running Runebound Topaz and Survivor's Ingenuity. Now, the patch just hit yesterday. For those of you who are watching this around the time of recording, the new patch is included in this. So the Runebound Topaz has been changed at this point. So we're still running that on both rings. The other ring here, Mythical Band of Eternal Haunt. And again, that has Runebound Topaz, Survivor's Ingenuity. And the Mythical Soul Catcher for the Amulet, which is really, really good. It's giving us +1 all Necromancer, +2 to Foul Eruption, and adding flat Chaos damage to Ravenous Earth, which in turn we're converting into Aether damage. So very, very cool. Seal of Annihilation on that one. 15% chance on crit that we're going to reduce their OA, their DA, their health. We're going to cut their regen down. I mean, it's so, so strong. Coven Black Ash and Leathery Hide here on our hat. And our weapon components on both weapons, we're using a Rift Stone. So we're getting flat chaos damage, we're getting % chaos damage, and 10% physical converted to chaos. Now, the cool thing with that is that we convert that physical into chaos, which in turn gets converted into Aether. So there's 10% physical there. There's 10% physical on this Rift Stone. There's 15% physical converted on the weapon itself. There's another 18% physical converted on the Mind Warp proc. So we're getting a ton of physical damage converted to Aether. So we're basically converting everything into Aether. That's why I was saying that this build is very complex. So back to the Riftstone here. The skill that the Riftstone gives you is called Chaos Strike, which is going to be kind of our main attack almost. And that's important for a few reasons, but we'll get into that in a minute here. But what this does for us is 270% main hand damage and offhand damage, vitality damage, chaos damage, which is being converted to Aether, and you get move speed. But if you read what it actually says, you leap through the void to strike your enemies with destructive power. It's like a charge ability through a component. So even though this class doesn't have a charge ability, we're adding one here. And because we have a Rift Stone on each weapon, we get to do it twice. So very, very cool. Alright, quickly, we're going to go through the skills here. On the Occultist side, we're running now onto the Necromancer side. Ravenous Earth. This skill is doing a ton for us. Similar to Doombolt. If you look at Doombolt again, Doombolt has got a little bit of utility on it by reducing the enemy's health. But Ravenous Earth, we're doing Vitality Poison damage here. It's got a big radius. Decay here is just kind of pumping up the Vitality Poison damage, but it's also reducing the target's damage by 27%. This is ridiculously strong when you're fighting really hard enemies. 27% reduced target's damage. Foul Eruption. This is another passive that is so strong on the utility side. It's adding more vitality and flat aether damage. It's reducing their health by another 23% on top of Doombolt. And it's reducing the resists by a flat number. This is insane. This build just shreds people's resistances. And that is the skill setup. Let's jump into the devotions. Starting off here, we have the Imp. It's mainly for Aether damage, but we have the Aether Fire skill linked to Curse of Frailty there. Then moving up here, we have the Widow, which again is pumping up our Aether damage and OA. And we get Arcane Bomb. We have this attached to Bone Harvest. Now again, with Bone Harvest, it is sort of an AoE skill. You're hitting multiple targets. 85% chance to proc it. That's huge. We needed a whole bunch of blue, so we have the Eel here. We have the Sailor's Guide for a little bit more on the resistance and defensive side there. We picked up Solemn Watcher. I had never actually used this one on my other builds, so I was pretty interested in this. We get Physique, we get Cold Resist, Pierce Resist. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff in here. It's a very good defensive tree here, so we picked that up. That gave us some more blue that we needed there. Over here we have the Ghoul, which we came over here for Ghoulish Hunger. When you hit 45% health, you get another 81% attack damage converted to health. You can see when we hit that max rank there, it's going to be 85. We also are going to pick up 18% physical resist when this goes off. So if you get low, you're going to become very tanky very fast. So Ghoulish Hunger is very good for a melee build like this. Then we have the Fiend. So we're coming around, picking up the Fiend and grabbing Flame Torrent here. 100% chance on attack that we're going to get a fire and chaos damage little swirl around us, which it does a lot of damage. It is very cool, very strong. We have that linked to our Chaos Strike. We have the Jackal here just to grab a couple more of the red points there. And then we come up into the Revenant. So we're going to pick up all of these leading up to Raise the Dead. It's got a 19% chance on attack, and we have it linked to Ravenous Earth. So Ravenous Earth is an AoE dot, and we get to put down a lot of them. So the proc chance on this is very, very good, and we're pulling up 4 skeletons, and you can see that the damage is there. I mean, we're already dealing significant damage because they scale from player bonuses. We're dealing significant damage already, and we're not even halfway leveled up on the skill, so this is very strong. We have Dying God, so this is giving us a lot of OA, chaos damage. It's giving us defense ability, resist. I mean, Dying God has got a ton of good things in it, but Hungering Void is incredible. Hungering Void is incredible. Now, it is difficult. I will not lie to you. When it goes off, sometimes you notice because it costs you health per second. Now, our Blood of Drieg is counteracting that to an extent. Blood of Drieg is counteracting that. But when we have this active, and you can see it's 100% chance on attack, it's linked to Chaos Strike. So as soon as we charge in, this is on. It gives us a chance to fear. It increases total speed. It's giving us crit damage, vitality, and chaos. I mean, it's going to pump up our damage by a lot. And you can see how the crit damage is scaling as the levels go up. We're only at level 3, and we're at 14%. We get in another 2% for the next level. So when you get up to 15, that's going to be a big crit damage number. And then finally, we have Spear of the Heavens, which also will help counteract that Hungering Void. It's also a very nice heal. So Spear of the Heavens, lots of Aether damage and OA, and it gets us to obviously the skill Spear of the Heavens. 50% chance when hit that this guy is going to drop on their heads, stun them, deal Aether damage, main hand damage, which in turn also heals us because we have lifesteal. And yeah, heal, Aether damage, and a stun. This is really strong. So we have that link to Possession, and that will do it for the devotions. Now it is time to go play the game. It's time to kill some things. Let's get to it.